Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chesko.
It's Wednesday, November 6, 2024. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, and Cavs Philly Tailgates. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chesko. Chet, it's Dallas week. The Eagles have won 4 in a row. The Cowboys are struggling. The Sixers get Paul George back. Then they don't. Then they do. He's back, it looks like, tonight. But they get a 3-game suspension from Joel Embiid. The Flyers coming off another loss last night to Carolina. They're 2-2 in their last 4. The Phillies have some free agents to deal with as the calendar turns to November. The big excitement in Happy Valley Saturday turned into a little bit of disappointment as Ohio State knocks off Penn State yet again. There is plenty to talk about in Philly sports.
Can't wait to get your recap of your day in Happy Valley,
Woo!
Bill. Not so happy, I guess, this time. I'm sure it was fun despite the outcome. And yeah, lots to get to regarding the Flyers, Sixers, and Eagles. Going to be a fun show.
Yes, it will. We have a couple great guests tonight. In our new network partner from STT Sports Network, Phil Stiefel, and Philly radio legend Angelo Cataldi makes another return visit to Philly Pressbox Radio.
Yeah, Angelo has a couple of out-in-the-public events over the next week or so. Spoiler alert, he will also have some not-so-flattering words about both Joel Embiid and Nick Sirianni. And yeah, Phil Stiefel back for a second visit to our show, but his first time getting to talk to you, Bill, so let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's welcome Phil Stiefel to Philly Pressbox Radio. Phil, the host of Trending in the A.M. We've talked about him a lot of times here on the show.
Good evening. I normally say good morning, so good evening, gentlemen. It's good to be back on the show.
Yeah, you keep some weird hours, man. Phil, let's start here. I don't get to watch your terrific show every morning, but I'm going to guess this has been one of your topics. So here goes. The Eagles are 6-2, but the head coach gets pretty heavily criticized by a big chunk of the fan base. Now, he is far from perfect. We saw some of his miscues on Sunday, but does Nick Sirianni get too much fan criticism?
Oh, that's such a tough one because I'm torn on this because I got two different opinions on it. Yes, he deserves the criticism because let me backtrack to really why. I get criticized a lot as a Rob Thompson hater, and I always say the Phillies have had a lot of success the last 2 years despite Rob Thompson's management, but it seems to work. And I don't know. I've been watching baseball for 35, 40 years. I don't know why or how it works. And I kind of feel like the same thing is happening with Nick Sirianni. I know he's 40-19 as the Eagles head coach. He's been to the Super Bowl, never missed the playoffs, but yet there's still a lot of very questionable decisions that he makes on a regular basis, and I kind of feel like it works. And if it works, as long as it continues to work, you got to keep going with it, whether we like it or not, whether he makes us scratch our head or not. You kind of just got to roll with it until it stops working at this point.
Well, Phil, I think the Eagles are right up there as one of the top maybe 3 or 4 teams in the NFC, I believe. And I think the Detroit Lions, we could clearly say at this minute, are number 1. Nick Sirianni reminds me a whole lot of Dan Campbell. They have a whole lot of ego. They trust their players. They put them in positions to make plays. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And with that comes a lot of criticism, and Dan Campbell gets that criticism just as well.
Yeah, he does. And you know, I really, truly think that Dan Campbell probably stays out a little bit more of the play-by-play decision-making than Nick Sirianni does. But you know what? You're right. I mean, it works. It seems to work. The players love Nick Sirianni. You've never heard any player publicly criticize the guy. You literally, it's just like Rob Thompson. It just keeps working. He makes some boneheaded decisions. I'm an old school football and sports mind. You don't take points off the board. Obviously, that is something that out of all his decisions this past week, really frustrated me. You just don't do that, in my opinion. But it still worked. It didn't backfire. I just think you roll with it, but you make sure you have a short leash in the sense of when it stops working, you can't wait. You got to pull the trigger right away. But as long as the team backs them up, don't worry about the fans. Don't worry about the media. As long as the team's winning, that's all that really matters.
What should we make of Jalen Hurts? They are winning now with him 4 in a row. As Ruben and Frank pointed out, 4 straight games of a passer rating of 119 or above. First time any Eagles quarterback has done that, apparently. Is he more of a game manager now? Does that matter? I mean, the wins matter, right?
The wins matter. I think Jalen Hurts is a little bit more than a game manager. The thing with Jalen Hurts, first and foremost, is he's had, 75 different offensive coordinators in the last 4 years. I think you had to give him a little time this year to adjust to at least all his other coordinators. They kind of were similar to an extent. Kellen Moore is completely different than anything he's ever had to, work with. So you had to definitely give Jalen Hurts a little time to adjust. But the thing with Jalen Hurts, he's not a game manager. I struggle to put this into words all the time when I'm talking about it on my show, and that's you need to get Jalen Hurts going. You got to get him in a rhythm, short passes, running plays early. I know Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman, they like the big explosive plays. They like to work backwards, pass to set up the run. But the problem is that doesn't work for Jalen Hurts. If you notice the last game or two when he's really starting to settle in, you're seeing longer drives with handoffs to Saquon Barkley, under center. You're seeing slants to Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. Easy things to build that confidence up. And then you see those big explosive plays, the big touchdown pass to Saquon Barkley, the even more amazing catch from Devontae Smith this past week. You build him up. And then once he gets that momentum and confidence going, he's not a game manager anymore. So he's a game manager to start, but once he's feeling it, I think he's perfectly fine with whatever kind of offense you want to run.
Well, Phil, I'm back to Hurts and Sirianni together. I'd like to have been in the meetings during the bye week because apparently they had some real good offensive meetings and everybody was involved. And to their credit, they've changed the offense. Now, the schedule was in their favor for these last 4 games. All very nice wins, by the way. Mm-hmm. But they've adjusted. They've become a run-first team that we've been looking for years. Now we got it. It's taken the pressure off of Hurts to allow him to play better. He's not in a pressure situation all the time to make plays. And I think what we're seeing is him playing more back to that 2022 time frame than certainly what we saw last year. I love that you bring up the bye week because I know I saw on social media and in the media in general some negative come out of the bye week because you heard Lane Johnson speak up about how he and a couple players went to Nick Sirianni and said, hey, this is what we see on the field. This is what we think would work. To me, that tells me how great of a coach Nick Sirianni really can be, that he has built a locker room and a culture where he has that open door policy where not just the leaders, anybody on the team can go to him and be like, yeah, look, coach, this is what I'm seeing out there. Can we try something else? And the fact that not only has the open door policy, that Nick Sirianni trusts his players and his leaders to make those kind of suggestions, I think it's fantastic. And it didn't cause a rift. If anything, it kind of maybe brings the team closer together because then the leaders have the back of the coach and the coach has the back of the leaders and it all works in synchronization. Look, he still makes those head-scratching decisions, but, if you've got that great culture matters so much in sports, then you can get by.
Hey, I want to ask you something about Saquon Barkley, Phil, but before I do that, I want to play Merrill and Mike's call of that amazing Barkley catch and backwards hurdle on Sunday. So here's that.
Hurts in the gun. He backpedals. He's looking, still looking. He fires it out in the flat to Barkley, who beats one man, spins past another, leaps over a third, and comes down at the 30.
What was that? I've never seen that move, and I've been watching football all my life.
Well, he did that. He did that to show off to Shady McCoy.
He's never done this. No one's ever done this. He hurdles a guy backwards. How do you jump over a guy backwards?
He did.
I think we've all watched that play about 30 times this week.
I haven't listened to the Merrill Reese call on it yet. That was the first time I heard him and Mike Quick do it.
I figured some people hadn't heard it, so that's why I put it in there. I made a little slideshow. My question, though, Saquon Barkley on pace right now for 371 touches this season. That's a lot. Is that too much? Should they, tone it down a bit?
It's funny you say that because I did talk the last couple of days on my show about leading up to the trade deadline where a sneaky target for me would have been another running back because, you are running Saquon Barkley a lot. Against Jacksonville, I think he touched the ball 31 of the 70 offensive plays. That's a lot. He's definitely touching the ball a lot, but the offense runs through him. So you have to have, if you don't want him running the ball 25 times a game plus catching the ball out of the backfield, you kind of have to, go out and get somebody else that could do the exact same thing. I'd like to see them bring somebody else in. I'd like to see them have trust in maybe Kenny Gainwell occasionally. It can't hurt to give Will Shipley a snap or two behind, Jalen Hurts there. You've got the bodies there. They just don't do it yet. I am concerned about wearing him out come the end of the season. And if you think back to 2017, what did Howie Roseman do at the trade deadline in 2017? He went out and got J.J. to add to LeGarrette Blount so that LeGarrette Blount, who was in the later part of his career, didn't get burned out. Then you had that 1-2 punch. Now there's guys that are free agents. I don't know if they'll add anybody else or not, but it's something that I'm monitoring, especially, going up this week against Dallas. Dallas gives up 147 yards per game on the ground, which means it's a team you can run against heavily and often right now, which means they're going to have a game plan of running the ball again this week. And then you got the short week against Washington. You got to be careful there with Saquon Barkley for sure. And that's why he did not practice today. He was given, the day of rest today.
Yep. Yeah. Well, buried in this Saquon Barkley stuff and Jalen Hurts stuff is the play of the defense. And Zach Bond comes off of a scrap heap in New Orleans and he's playing Pro Bowl level ball. We got Kobe Dean. All of a sudden, he's playing like a pro. And we got two rookie defensive backs that are locking it down. A lot of credit needs to be going to what's going on over on that side of the ball.
Absolutely. I mean, is it a coincidence that the Eagles are undefeated since Cooper DeJean's been starting? I don't know. Maybe. There's a good chance about that. No, I mean, Vic Fangio, I knew it coming in. It was going to take a while. For a bunch of guys that have been playing one style, it was going to take a little while for them to learn truly what Vic Fangio wanted out of each and every person. You see Nakobe Dean starting to trend upward. You're seeing Nolan Smith finally breaking out of his shell. Obviously, the rookie cornerbacks are playing fantastic right now. It took some time. I have one concern, just like because you mentioned Saquon Barkley and his amount of times he's touching the football. Jalen Carter's playing north of 90% of the snaps every single week on defense now, and that does concern me quite a bit because he is a defensive tackle. He's a larger man. Fletcher Cox in his height was playing 70-75% of the snaps. So Jalen Carter playing the amount he does concern me a little bit, but for the most part, this defense has been locked down perfect. And we'll see how they look in a couple of weeks when we face Washington. That'll be their first real test, but I'm really, really I'm more confident, honestly, in the defense than I am the offense at this point. That's how excited I am about them.
Well, Phil, we're going to switch to basketball in a second, but what is your midweek prediction for the Eagles-Cowboys game? Birds favored by 7 to 7.5 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles win. There's not much in my mind without Dak Prescott playing. CeeDee Lamb practiced limitedly today, and, Micah Parsons says he's going to play. He hasn't practiced yet, but it's Eagles, it's Dallas, it's in Dallas. It's going to be a close game. I would never in my life, I'm a bettor. Some people call me a degenerate. I would never bet an Eagles-Cowboys game, no matter what the line was. You just don't bet Eagles versus Cowboys. You stay away from that. But I do have the confidence in this team to get the win. I will say some people are calling it a trap game with Washington on Thursday night the next week. Sometimes there could be that letdown. And all I say is no Eagles player ever has a letdown Dallas week. It just doesn't happen. So they're going to go in there. They're going to win. I expect it to be a close game again, but I think the Eagles go in there and get the W this week.
Let me switch it over to hoops. Joel Embiid, I know you talked about that whole situation on your show. I caught some of it in recent days. For people who haven't seen or heard, what have you been saying about Joel Embiid and how it all went down with Marcus Hayes and Embiid still ramping up and now suspended for 3 games? Sum it up for us, Phil.
Well, first and foremost, with the Marcus Hayes situation, I think there's a lot of things wrong with this situation. First and foremost, the article, the clickbait. I used to respect and listen to and read Marcus Hayes when I was growing up a lot. Listened to him always on Daily News Live when they used to have that show. Always had a problem. But he, just like a lot of other media members, have fallen into the clickbait material and whatnot. And when you bring someone's deceased brother into a conversation, their son, to question their, dedication to the sport, Look, I got a lot of family stuff in my life, and if anybody ever talks negatively or disparagingly about my family, I might get a little bit worse off than a little shoving with the person that was involved in it. I'll just say that. It was wrong. But I think the Sixers were wrong in the situation as well because they knew this was happening. In my opinion, why did the Sixers let Marcus Hayes so close to the situation happening into that locker room after a game while Joel Embiid's trying to ramp up? To me, I think the Sixers organization let this whole situation get out of hand. That's just my opinion on it. I think they could have done a little bit better. I think Joel Embiid will be back. What is it? Next week against the Knicks is when his suspension's up. I think he's been ramped up. I think he will play. He will be playing limited amount of games and minutes and all, but it is what it is. I really truly think that the Sixers let this whole situation get out of hand.
Yeah, and if what you've read is right, they immediately placed the blame on Embiid, called Marcus Hayes in and apologized to him. That's not a good look. But let me take it one step further with you, Phil. Sixer fans, and I don't know if you see this on your show, are really, really down on Embiid, and I'm probably one of them, just because of the history. Nobody really feeling too sorry for him about this whole thing. Can Embiid come back from this with the fans? I mean, he's going to get on the court and score 30 or 35 points. He's that good of a player. But what's it going to take for him to win this fan base back?
I mean, it's going to take winning games in the playoffs. I don't think the fans are going to care if he plays 35, 40 games. Don't care. I think he's going to have to go out there and perform at a healthy level in the playoffs, and that's all it's going to be. Otherwise, it's just going to be another situation of what ifs 20 years from now, looking back on this. What if Joel Embiid stayed healthy? What if, somebody brought up Allen Iverson and all the issues. People, a lot of the younger crowd forget how many issues Allen Iverson had with Larry Brown and with the fans. And it's their social media back in that era. Allen Iverson might have been remembered a little differently as well. But Allen Iverson overcame that, won an MVP, got to the NBA Finals and whatnot, and that changed the narrative. There was a point, if I forget what year it was, that there was a put up or shut up with the organization and Allen Iverson. We're going to trade you, or he was going to ask for a trade, or else. You know what I mean? So this is a very eerily similar situation. Just Allen Iverson didn't sit out as many games. He played hurt, etc. But outside of the run to the championship against the Lakers, he really never had that playoff success. It's going to take Joel Embiid to be healthy in the playoffs. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to get healthy in the playoffs, that's all that matters. And then he's going to have to go put up in the playoffs.
And as we said, he'll probably be back next Tuesday when the Sixers play the Knicks in the first NBA Cup battle, that all-important NBA Cup.
That's my joke today. The whole entire thing with Joel Embiid was to protect him so he's back in time for the NBA Cup because they want the Sixers to win the NBA Cup. That it was all a setup and whatnot from the league to get Joel there for that.
I did catch a little bit of your show today, and I saw you talking about that. All right, Phillies briefly. Will they go after Juan Soto? They will, at least a bit. How seriously will they go after Juan Soto? And what other moves might the Phillies make this offseason?
Well, I think the Phillies are going to shock their fans with more moves than people realize. I've already heard rumors about Brandon Marsh, Alec Boehm, and a couple other names that might get moved on. They didn't want to make any changes to their coaching staff, which I was shocked. Whether you like Rob Thompson or not, whether it was Kevin Long, something had to change in the organization. They chose not to make the change with the coaches. And if you really listen to Dave Dombrowski's tone and his words in his post-season press conference, he kind of put the blame on the players for not succeeding in the playoffs. So that tells me that he is going to make some big changes, whether it's Alec Boehm. I saw somebody today, one of the reporters out there writing that maybe Nick Castellanos is on the trade block. A very popular, liked Phillies player is going to go in this offseason. Who it is, I do not know. Will they go after Juan Soto? They are going to try. That's the only reason why you keep Kevin Long, because of his relationship from Washington with Juan Soto. They have a very close relationship. I just don't know. You guys are a little bit older, not trying to say anything. Happy birthday, Jim. Chet, I don't know if you can win with that many $500 and $300 million players and no homegrown talent if you get rid of all these young players to bring on Juan Soto.
Yeah, what did you think about Hoffman becoming a free agent? They're basically going to let him walk. I mean, he struggled in the last series there, but he was rock solid all season and for the last two seasons. and it appears they're going to let him walk. They don't want to pay him.
I think they're going to try to make an effort to re-sign him. I forget who it was, somebody on ESPN that does like salary, like they predict what a player's going to sign in free agency. He's projected to be signed for more than Carlos Estevez, who is also a free agent. Yep. I think they will try to bring back Jeff Hoffman. I do think they like Orion Kirkgreen, and I think that the goal is ultimately to make him, not next year, but in the future, the closer of this team. So if they have to give Jeff Hoffman a 3 or 4 year deal, maybe they let him walk. Look, something's got to change. The team collapsed in the playoffs. The bullpen was solid until the playoffs. Something's got to give. You can't give Jeff Hoffman $48 million and then Juan Soto $500 and then fill out the half the bullpen's is in free agency this year. So there's a lot of work that needs done. You have to be picky and choosy, no matter how much money John Middleton is willing to spend.
Yeah, and I saw where Hoffman makes like $2.2 million, and they're expecting him to sign upward to 10. So obviously that plays into it.
Yeah, absolutely plays into it. Look, I liked Hoffman. I thought Hoffman was a fantastic story. And you know what? People get upset when free agents sign for big money and leave their team. Jeff Hoffman, I forget the exact number, but I remember when he first got hot this year, people were talking about he has played on like 9 different teams. He's been sent down to the minors 30 different times. This was his crowning moment. This is his chance to get his first big payday ever and set his family up. So he is going to go out there, and you hate to see a guy go for the money versus the team or the championship. But this is Hoffman's one chance to go for the money. So he is going to go for the money. So if somebody outbids the Phillies, he'll probably go where the money is at this point. And that's not a knock on Hoffman at all, just so you know.
All right, Phil, before we let you go and make a big pitch for trending in the AM also, I got to mention this. Bill, when I had Phil on a few months ago, a night that you were off, we talked about the fact that Phil owns a pizza shop, and I talked about the fact that my favorite topping is pepperoni pizza, okay? I love a good pepperoni pizza. There it is, Fox's. And Phil
always ready to prepare.
He dissed me for liking pepperoni. He said it's like too commonplace. I have to go something more exotic or whatever.
Phil, nah.
It's the most overrated pizza topping in the world. It really is. I mean, I sell more pepperoni pizza than anything else, but it is so overrated. There's so many better toppings than pepperoni on a pizza. So many.
The only thing I could go for is more meat. I can always go for more meat, but
I just don't like a plain pepperoni pizza. To me, that's just too boring. I like bacon on my pizza, Italian sausage, yellow banana peppers, red onions, loaded up with all different combos like that. But
I
just
haven't had a pepperoni pizza since yesterday.
All right, Phil, plug away. Tell us again about Trending in the AM and why people should be watching it.
Trending in the AM every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30, except for tomorrow. Got to take the morning off tomorrow. But every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30, right on the STT Sports Network. I have 2 goals, okay, with Trending in the AM and this network. I want to set the trends for what Sports Network should be, and Trending in the AM, I've created it to make sure that your opinions actually matter. It's not about my opinions on any topic. Trending in the AM is about your opinions. I set the topics. We talk movies, sports, beer, anything. Whatever you want to talk about, whatever your opinion is. I fear that in this day and age, in social media and everything else, that your opinions don't care and everyone bashes you for your opinion. So as long as you do it in a productive way, literally every single opinion is welcomed on the show, and I will discuss it with you. I won't always agree, but I will discuss it in an engaging way versus the hateful way that what you see everywhere else on in the media and in social media and stuff.
There you go. I told you, Bill. Good stuff.
All right. Hey, Phil, before we let you go, I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm not very technically inclined, but I'm going to try. Hang on.
Hello. That's okay.
Did it work?
No.
I don't know what that was.
I was trying to play Happy Birthday to you.
Oh, yeah. Sing. You were going to sing to me.
Well, I was handing that off to my laptop, and apparently it didn't work. So,
Jim, before I go, wait, 29, 30 years old, Chet?
Let's go with 50-ish.
Yeah, 50-ish. That's even better. Happy birthday to you.
All right, Phil. Thanks for joining us. Let's do it again.
Yep. Anytime, guys. Have a great night. Bubbles up.
You too.
Alrighty. See ya.
All right, Chet. Hey, speaking of birthdays, tell us what's going over at the Irish Rover Station House. I know you'd probably rather be there than be with me.
I actually popped in there last Saturday night, part of my Halloween weekend escapades. Talked to the lovely Chris. Had a good time seeing her as always. The Irish Rover Station House. Well, Bill, you know this. The Rover in Langhorne, PA has happy hour specials, always 24 beers on tap. And Thursday through Sunday, dinner specials. You can check out their website for all the details on that. Something new on Thursdays, in addition to killer burgers, they have this, Stella and wings. Yeah, a big plate of the Rover's tasty wings for $9 and a giant glass of Stella for $5. Real nice. Music this Saturday night, courtesy DJ Cisco. And although it was 80 degrees today in Langhorne and Jersey, we'll very soon be talking about the Rover's ugly sweater holiday party. I know Bill loves that. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Again, check the website, IrishRoverStationHouse.com. Ray Diddy, I need you. Where's Ray?
Hi, this is Ray Dinger, and it is always fun to talk sports with these two guys, Bill and Chad, on Philly Pressbox Radio.
Hey, Chet, real quick, let's talk Flyers. They lost again last night, 5-4, gave up an empty one at the end to make it 6-4 with a couple seconds left. They've won 2 of 4 this week. They're presently in dead last place in the Eastern Division, Eastern Conference. Mitchkov, rookie player of the month. He's tied for points for rookies, but there ain't much going on with this bunch.
Nice comeback in the Tuesday night game. They were down, but came back to tie it at 4, only to give up a couple of late goals. I guess the second one, an empty netter. They lost 6-4. Mishkov only played 13 minutes. He got benched, of course, the one game last week. Kind of a learning moment for him, an instruction moment. Yep. But, yeah, you'd like to see them doing a little better. They did win, I guess, 2 out of 3 before losing Tuesday night. They really need some goaltending help, though. They had the backup to the backup in goal last night, and neither of these two Russian guys look great in goal. So goaltending is a definite problem, Bill.
Yeah, it is, and the defense is not playing very well, and they're not scoring goals. So we got a recipe for for being in last place. They're going to have to get this thing figured out, and at some time, probably sooner than they'd like, they're going to just have to make the move, and Urson's going to have to be in the nets almost all the time until they get something figured out.
Yeah, until they get some help there.
Mitchkov is fun to watch. Hey, one other thing I wanted to throw in here. I didn't put it on our list of things to talk about. Dick Allen. Dick Allen is back on the ballot one more time for the Hall of Fame. Probably going to be the last time. He is twice in 2014 and 2021.
Missed by one vote.
One vote. Still some good players on this list, but I like Dick Allen's chances this time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to get in this time finally. As you said, missed just by one vote each of the last 2 times. I think there is some sentiment, especially, since he has passed since then. It's unfortunate that he'll be going in, if that happens, as a deceased member. But certainly, in my view, deserves to be in. So please, old guys, vote for Dick Allen. Get him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I don't know. We need to talk to Frog, Mark Carfagno, at some point. Maybe get him back on the show. And he's got
he was watching. He was watching.
Oh, is he? Okay. And maybe get him back on the show. He's got that page that he runs about Dick Allen in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And maybe Frog can give us some insight on what fans could do to help support this effort, if that's a possibility.
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
All right. Hey, tomorrow night, you and I will be attending the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm really excited to be here for that. I get to go. One of the inductees will be sports radio talk show legend Angelo Cataldi. And you had a chance to visit with Angelo about his induction and a whole lot more.
Yeah, going to be a great night at Live Casino ahead of that terrific event. I've been there the last 3 years. I had an awesome chat with Angelo about a range of topics, and he does not mince words, as I said, when talking about Nick Sirianni or Joel Embiid. Everybody, you will enjoy this chat, I promise you. Here we go. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about with this guy. Though retired from his long-running WIP radio gig, he's got a lot going on right now, including a couple of big events over the next week or so. He's the author of this great book, Loud, and a Philly sports talk radio legend. Back with us on Philly Pressbox Radio, Angelo Cataldi.
Chet, it's a pleasure to be back with you. Thank you for having me.
Well, we'll talk about the Phillies sports scene in just a bit. Lots going on there, as always. But I saw you about 2 weeks ago at the Philly Film Festival premiere of the movie No One Died, the Wing Bowl story. And I got to tell you, Angelo, having attended 11 or 12 Wing Bowls myself over the years, that documentary from director Pat Taggart was terrific and really captured, I thought, the mayhem and fun of that 26-year Philly tradition.
Well, I got to tell you, first of all, Chuck, I think less of you that you went to all those wing balls. I don't know what the heck you were thinking. But I agree with you that the documentary is spectacular. And I am thrilled that so many people enjoyed it. And it kind of, I had my own misgivings about it toward the end because it got a little tacky but it made me love it again. It made me realize what it was really about, which is to take the little guy and make him a star for a day. And get 20,000 people roaring his name and being a hero, seeing what that felt like. And that's something I don't think many other radio promotions were able to do. So I'm thrilled by it. I hope it gets picked up by a major streamer so that everybody sees it and realizes what a great event we had. And I was thrilled that you were there. I really, I was amazed by how many people showed up that I hadn't seen in many, many years. It was almost like the 27th Wing Bowl that night at the premiere.
Yeah, it was great. A lot of alumni were there. And, one of the favorite things in the movie for me was this guy, Mize. For folks who don't know, Angelo, tell us about Mize.
Well, he was the guy who was a halftime show for 8 or 9 years before lawyers got involved. And halftime chose to take a 6-pack of beer, shake it all up, and then smash the cans on his head until they erupted and went all over everybody, including him. He ended up sustaining lots of bloody cuts and swelling of his brain. And he's fine now. I talked to him. He's still very coherent. So I guess there was no major damage. But needless to say, once the lawyers got more involved in looking over it, they squashed a lot of those crazy things that we did in the early years. But yeah, he was a big hit in it. The guy with the projectile vomit. This is not the highest of highbrow documentaries, but it's got a lot of amazing videos in it. And I think people will, it's the fastest 90 minutes you'll ever see in a documentary. It goes by so quick.
Yep, hope it does get picked up, really. That would be great if it got picked up. Angelo, the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame holds its annual induction ceremony Thursday evening at Live Casino. And it's a great class of inductees, including the likes of Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Stan Walters, Rod Brindamore, and you. Now, we did talk about it briefly when the 2024 class was announced early this year, but how's it feel to know that you're going to be in the Philly Sports Hall of Fame?
I am not worthy of the honor. It was never anything I thought would happen because my style of sports talk did not endear me to many people. I was very critical. I was loud and abrasive. And, I tried to entertain people while giving my strong opinion on stuff. And we're at a point now where I guess I'm not a danger anymore because I don't have the voice I had before to say the things that I say, but we're each given 2 minutes at the for a speech, and I'm not taking more than that because the people you named, more people are there to see them than to see me. But the point I'm going to make is that the city's gotten too soft, especially the media, and I think I can help you segue it to what happened with Marcus Hayes and the Sixers, and that if you write something that you really truly believe in, it's strong now, you get massive repercussions from the teams and from the people you wrote about or talked about. And I gotta tell you, Chet, that's not the Philadelphia I moved to 40 years ago. It's a different world now. And the people that have covered the teams now are so much more forgiving. After Joel Embiid shoved Marcus Hayes, the one columnist who is still giving his strong opinions, reaction be damned. And the fact that he was physically assaulted by Embiid and the Sixers attempted to get the whole media to ignore the story, to suppress the story, tells me that the teams now think they actually can control the way they're being covered. And if that's true, this isn't Philadelphia to me anymore.
Well, let's do that segue, Angelo. How much of a mess are the Philadelphia 76ers right now? And what do you make of the whole Embiid thing not being on the court too often?
It's the same thing. It's just drama. They have not even got to a conference final yet. He is now the symbol of 4 years of tanking. And all he does is create negative stuff. Yeah, he's a great player. No one's going to argue that when he plays. But here's the problem with this whole situation, Chet. You can't say a guy's not playing because you're managing his left knee, all right? There are people, I'll put this in real simple terms. There are dads and moms who brought their kids to the opening game of the season wearing Joel Embiid jerseys. And now I got to tell my 7-year-old son that he can't see his hero because they're managing his left knee. Doesn't work. Are you hurt? Are you not hurt? How are you trying to play this? And Embiid himself, and this is why I think Marcus was on point. Embiid is really in shape. He does not condition himself the way an elite athlete should do so. So when it comes time to play, we better load manage this. We better not play him on back-to-back nights. I'm in an era where Wilt Chamberlain played every minute of every game. Every minute of every game. Mm-hmm. Are you a player or are you a sitter? He's a sitter. And I'll be honest with you, Chet, I'm sick of him. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of his act. What he did was contemptible. And I understand that Marcus Hayes brought up his son and his brother, his late brother, and that was maybe got a little bit too far and going what he was going. But all he was saying was, preserve your legacy. If you're a star player, you got to play. I mean, that's a message that Embiid would like people to ignore while he plays the victim again. But you know what? I've had enough of him. They're not going to win a damn thing with Joel Embiid here, Chet. They're not going to win while he's here, and tanking will have been a failure.
I love watching the guy play, but yeah, I'm kind of with you now. It's just so frustrating. Hey, Angelo, they're putting you in the Philly Sports Hall of Fame, even though you were way off with your Eagles prediction this season. Now, I know you're not a Nick Sirianni fan, and he had a horrible game on Sunday. Let's be honest about it. But I saw the podcast in early September. You predicted the Birds would go 5-12 this year. Come on, Angelo.
Yeah, that temporary insanity. I think it's more and more proof of my growing senility, Chet. You know what it was? I mean, I have a justification for it. I watched the last 7 games last year, and they couldn't beat anybody. They were awful. And I assumed that because they kept Sirianni, they would have that same cloud over them. But I'll tell you the truth. The 2 coordinators that came in, they rescued this. And a great move by Howie Roseman. Several great moves, but the biggest was Saquon Barkley. And Barkley changed the whole mentality. Now that offense, I'll tell you, what I saw Sunday and that win over the Jaguars, that near loss, but win over the Jaguars, was some of the most athletic plays in one game I've ever seen in my life. And I've watched football for 60-plus years. Barkley's twist and turn down, that was an amazing sequence. The insane catch Dotson made near the sideline. Yeah. The play, Devontae Smith's touchdown catch, insanely great. Hurts, 17 yards, runs past everybody. The athleticism, and this kid bombed the linebacker. He is turned into a sensational player, and they won the game when Nakobe Dean made an unbelievable interception in the end zone to save the game. And Howie Roseman deserves a better coach than Nick Sirianni. How can he put together a roster with this much insane talent and have an absolute village idiot running it? Because Nick Sirianni, all he did was keep giving points back to the Jaguars. 2-point conversion. The brotherly shove didn't work anymore, and he still kept going to it. Nick Sirianni is an embarrassment to an organization with enough talent to win a Super Bowl. That's my new prediction. The only thing that will stop them from going far now this year is the head coach on the sidelines.
A couple of big games coming up at Dallas and home against the surprising Washington Commanders. Going to be interesting for sure. Hey, Angelo, your terrific book, Loud, which I have a copy of course, right here, has been out for just about a full year now. Was there anything you didn't put in the book that you wish you had?
Well, there were a couple of things. I left out a couple of people. Signman John was one of my favorite callers. That kind of left me. I got it in the audio book. Ricky Batalico is one of my best co-hosts. Somehow he slipped through the cracks. But 99%, I got him, Batalico, in the audiobook as well. Most of it is exactly what I wanted to say, the way I wanted to say it. And I've never been able to say that about anything I wrote before, Chet, but I'm proud of it. I'm happy about it. It did really well. And all I could say now is hopefully people who haven't read it will check it out, because it's not just about me. It's 33 years of sports in our great sports city.
All right. Last thing, I believe I told you once before, I was a huge fan of the Great Sports Debate back in the day on Prism, of course. And there's something special happening in connection with that classic show next Tuesday, the 12th, at Conshohocken Brewery's Puddlers Kitchen and Tap. What do you know about it?
Here's what I know about it. It's all Glenn Mack now. But then the Great Sports Debate was all Glenn Mack. He did all the work on it. He's got this Conshohocken Brewing Company, and we're going to have a fundraiser that night. And I'm going to give you a clue. Before that, Chet, before we go out and greet all the fans and have a great time with them, we're going to film one last edition of the Great Sports Debate. And it's going to appear on Glenn's beer show on our own network, NBC Sports Philadelphia. And it's going to be me and Jason Stark and Al Morgani and, not Fenway. He passed away, the door. Yeah. We're going to do a show, and we're going to do it using current topics. And I'll tell you what, I have no idea if we can still do that show. I'm rusty, right? You think I'm rusty on radio. I'm really rusty on television, but we're going to take a stab at it. Because there are a lot of people that really enjoyed that show, as silly and dumb and weird as it was.
There's a new beer out in connection with it also, the Great Sports Debate, Amber Lager. I can't wait to try that. Favorite memory from the Great Sports Debate, not including Al's mullet?
Oh, well, the favorite memory was how every time Curt Schilling came on, this was his big year. He's the rookie year at all. And he knew Mike Missinelli. He used to come on all the time with us. That I constantly harassed him at a time when everyone else loved him. And now, see, once in a while, I'm right, Chet. Now he's a national laughingstock. So I got that one right. And I love the fact that he hated me so much. Because all these other guys would go, ooh, Kurt, can we get you a soda? Can we get you something, Kurt? You big sports star. And I would go, Kurt, you're a big blowhard, and I think you're overrated. Screw you.
I love it. Again, the Great Sports Debate fundraiser night happens next Tuesday, the 12th, at Puddlers Kitchen and Tap in Bridgeport, starting at 6 p.m. Going to be fun. I'll be there. Folks, the holidays are fast approaching, and if you have a friend or loved one who's a Philly sports fan, this book, Loud, makes a great gift. Angelo, I'll see you Thursday at the Philly Sports Hall of Fame inductions. Thanks for visiting Philly Pressbox Radio again.
My pleasure, as always, Chet. Thank you.
Hey, a lot of interesting stuff there from Angelo. It's two things. I'll do the second one first. It's a wonder he didn't get beat up by Curt Schilling or Charlie Manuel or any of the number of people, Pat Burrell, who he used to beat on all the time.
Yeah.
It's a wonder that he didn't get beat up somewhere along the line. Second, a lot of hate toward Nick Sirianni. As Phil said earlier, he's 40-19. I don't know exactly who you're thinking you're bringing in here that's going to win 40 out of 59 games, but
yeah, he's just not a fan of Sirianni. But it was funny. It was funny.
Oh, yeah.
I know you liked what he said about Embiid, sitting too much and maybe being soft.
Yeah. I mean, that history has built itself, right? I mean, even you're coming around. You're even seeing the light.
Hey, how can you not be frustrated with what's happening, especially this season? You give a guy a new massive contract and he's not ready to play, 3 weeks into the season. Come on.
It's only taking you 4 years to see it my way, but you're getting there. Good
Hey,
for you.
Bill, you just told me today that we lost one of our, longtime viewers and listeners the other night.
We did. Bob Coggs is a guy, Bob Coglin, who I've known probably pretty much his whole life. I played Little League ball with his brother, his older brother. And Bob he was always on our Philly Pressbox Radio Facebook page and on this show, watching this show all the time. And Sunday night he went to sleep and didn't wake up. 57 years old, and like I say, I've known his family forever, and probably when he was born, actually. Knew the family and played with his brother, so big loss to the locals, and big loss for our Philly Pressbox Radio group.
Yeah, indeed. And Bill, I want to mention something also while we have the time. Yeah, Bill, as we noted a couple of weeks ago, our friend Robbie, one of our faithful listeners from the very early days of Philly Pressbox Radio way back when, she and her husband, Bob, suffered a bit of a tragedy last month, a fire at their home, heavy damage. They lost a lot of their belongings. Our hearts certainly go out to them. Well, the good news is there is a fundraiser on their behalf taking place Sunday, November 17th. That'll be 2 to 7 p.m. at Curran's on State Road in Northeast Philly. Good place. There'll be baskets raffled off, a 50-50, donation buckets, and live music, of course. Robbie and Bob love going out to see live music. You can also donate by using a GoFundMe link if you can't attend or simply wish to donate separately for whatever reason. You can find all the details on the Facebook page, Helping Our Friend Bob and Robbie, our friends, Bob and Robbie. There it is right there if you're watching. Philly Pressbox Radio, of course, will be donating to this cause, and hopefully some of the rest of you will find it in your hearts to help out as well. We love you guys, Robbie and Bob.
Absolutely. Hope nothing but the best for them to get things back together. All right. Chet, tell us what's going on with the best tailgaters in Philadelphia, Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates.
I thought it was time to go tailgating, and I'm always ready for that. Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up terrific catering business for more than 30 years. You know them for their tailgate parties primarily. Cavs is a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates, Jack Daniels Great American Tailgate Party Contest, and a past winner of the Philly Daily News Tailgate Award. Cavs does corporate events and parties too, you name it. And of course, Cav hosts tailgates before all Eagles home games. Those games at the link. Here's the partial schedule for upcoming games. Check the website, phillytailgates.com, for pricing and more info about upcoming events. Yeah, there'll be a tailgate before that big Thursday night Eagles-Commanders game a week from tomorrow. Check the website again, phillytailgates.com, for all the info. And if you have questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go. And Cav also coordinates all the road game tailgates for Philly sports trips. They have fantastic trips for every Eagles road game and other events like Philly Spring Training next March. Get all the details on that at phillysportstrips.com.
All right, Chet, let's get to our weekly picks. We're getting a little better on the weekly picks. I am not doing very good on that crazy margin of victory pool, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that Bob Vitrone Jr., a.k.a. Boop, still in Facebook's timeout corner for whatever reason. He must have done something nasty. But we do have his picks. All of us went 4-1 last Sunday. Pretty good weekend. So Boop is still up by 1 game on you. And Bill, I'm finally back to the 500 mark, 20-20, though still 6 games off the pace. So what do we have this week?
Well, we've got, let's see, we added a couple since we have a little NFC East competition. So we added Detroit at Houston. The Lions are -3.5. Cincinnati at Baltimore on Thursday Night Football. That's got a chance to be a pretty good game. Ravens -6. Giants visit Carolina. The Giants are -5.5. Pittsburgh visits Washington. I like this game. Commanders -3. And the Eagles visit Dallas. The Eagles -7. Let's do it.
First of all, let me mention that Giants-Carolina game, which I first thought was in Carolina. It's actually in Munich. That'll be in Munich this Sunday morning.
Oh, that's a Sunday morning game.
Yeah, there you go. So that may influence some people's picks. It did mine, as a matter
or it may make them not want to watch it at all at 9 a.m.
Yeah, come on. It's fun to get up at 9 o'clock, watch a little 9:30 a.m. football.
Well, that's
all right,
going
let's
to be
see.
football, but go
Let's
ahead.
start Bengals and Ravens. Boop has this. He says Joe Burrow would need to throw for more than 5 touchdowns to win this one. Boop is picking Baltimore. Yeah, I got to go with the Ravens as well.
I am going with the Ravens as well. You skipped over Detroit at Houston. Lions -3.5.
I wrote these down before you gave me your agenda. So I started with Bengals and Ravens. All right, Detroit -3.5 at Houston. Boop says Detroit going for its 5th straight road win, something it has done just once, and that was 13 years ago in its 95-year history. The Lions are for real. Boop's taking the Lions, so am I.
Yeah, I'm going with Detroit until there's a reason not to. They're playing great ball.
Yep.
All right. Giants, Carolina. Giants are -5.5 in Munich.
You know, I think the line was first just -4, and now it's -5.5. I don't know why. Carolina is starting Bryce Young again, a quarterback, but he played the last couple of weeks, I believe.
And they won last week.
They did, yeah. They beat New Orleans, which isn't saying a whole lot. But Boop says, I want to say this is a matchup of 2-7 teams, but Carolina's win over the Saints doesn't count. That's Boop's words. Boop's pick is the Giants. And you know what? I first picked Carolina, but then when I realized the game was in Munich, not in Carolina, I went to the Giants. So Boop and I are both going with the G-Men.
I'm going with Carolina. The Giants stink.
Oh, Carolina stinks too.
The Giants stink.
Okay.
Every time I pick the Giants, they lose. All right. Pittsburgh, Washington, Commanders -3. This has a chance to be a slugfest.
Boop says it's Pennsylvania War Week for Washington. They will lose this first battle. Oh, yeah, because Washington and the Eagles play next Thursday. Boop's pick is the Steelers. And, yeah, despite being a slight underdog, I'm taking the Steelers as well to knock off Washington and help the Eagles.
And I'm taking Pittsburgh, too.
I'm
not I need to see Washington play some good opponents. I mean, you beat the teams on your schedule. That's what you're supposed to do. I want to see them play some good competition in Pittsburgh. Eagles visit Dallas. Eagles -7.
All right, let's see what Boop's. Oh, by the way, that line now 7.5 on most betting sites, BetMGM and Caesars at least. -7.5 for which could make things a little more complicated for those betting the line. Philadelphia has won more games this season in South America than they have in the last 6 seasons in North Texas. That's Boop for you. Despite that, Boop's pick is the Eagles. Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles too. May or may not cover the 7.5, but Eagles will win.
The Eagles will win, and they'll win by more than 7. And because, Chad, I think I've said this about 7 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
They can't run the ball, and they can't play defense. And now they can't play quarterback either. So, and their best receiver is all banged up. This is going to be ugly.
This shocked the hell out of me. Cooper Rush is 5-1 as a starter.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
Guess who he lost to?
The Eagles?
That would be those Philadelphia Eagles.
Didn't he also beat them once, or am I crazy?
You are crazy.
Okay, maybe. I don't know.
He lost to the Eagles as a starter. He threw 3 interceptions back.
I remember they beat him, yeah.
A couple of years ago. So, I'm not too awful worried about that because they still can't run the ball and still can't play defense.
Just a reminder, Boop wants you to check out his website where you can get the daily listings of TV sports of interest and all sorts of other fun stuff. That website, sponsored by Chick's Deli in Cherry Hill, is boopstats.com. All right, the margin of victory pool, you know what it's like. It's like the survivor pool, but you don't get eliminated. Lucky for you, Bill, because you would have been kicked out 4 times already this year. You do get points if your surefire pick wins, those points amounting to the margin of victory. Of course, and look what happened last week. Bill picked Houston. He was eliminated for the weekend on Thursday night right away. Boop took Cincinnati. They won by 17. I took those Ravens. They crushed whoever by 31. So, I am expanding my lead, 134-89. You are firmly entrenched in last place, Bill.
Yeah, and I don't think that's really going to change, but we're going to play it out.
All right, let's see. Boop this week says, and again, I haven't looked at this ahead of time, Boop's pick is the Chargers. They're playing the Titans, who they do stink. So Boop is picking the Chargers. I am picking the Minnesota Vikings at Jacksonville.
Okay. And I'm taking Arizona hosting the Jets.
Ooh, that's a risky pick, man. I think they're only favored by a point, or it might be a pick 'em.
Jets thing.
Okay, I guess it doesn't matter, Bill.
That's right. That's right. All right. We had great guests tonight in Phil Stiefel and Angelo Cataldi. Who's coming to Philly Press Box Radio next week, pal?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Bill. We've had some great guests in recent weeks. So we're going to continue that next week because on Wednesday, we're going to preview the Eagles-Commanders game with the guy that you introduced me to a while back. This guy, Steve Lockman. We had him on last year at about this time. He is the host of the Commanders Gridiron podcast, so he will be joining us live next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And our second guest, Bill, this one may surprise you. This is a former two-time heavyweight boxing champion, Bill. We're going to have Tim Witherspoon on the show. How about that?
Yeah.
Because we got that Mike Tyson fight coming up the following week, I believe. So we're going to talk to Tim Witherspoon about the state of boxing and that Tyson.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, Steve is great. He does a great job with the Washington team. And Tim Witherspoon, how cool is that?
I knew you'd like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, tell me about your trip to Happy Valley. I know the game didn't quite work out so well. My only notes here about that game, James Franklin sucks because he did on Saturday. But you were there. You were hanging with Goon. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I got to go, on the bus trip out of Chester County with the Craft Bus Group. They're great. Dallas Craft is top of the line. Went with my buddy Donnie. Went to the Goons tailgate party. That was great. Gino Toretta, Heisman Trophy winner from Miami Hurricanes, was there as well. Got to hang out with him a bit. He's a friend. And had a good time. Went to the game. The game was fun. Didn't quite go Penn State's way. The fans were great. All-time record, 111,000 plus in the stadium. But, at the end of the day for Penn State, there's another game to play. If Ohio State would have lost that game and gone to 2 losses, things would have really got rough for them. So you certainly want to win. They had a chance to win. The plays at the goal line didn't make me very happy, but they are what they are. And I'll be going back this week too, Chet, for the whiteout on Saturday night in Happy Valley.
Where were your seats for the Ohio State game?
I was about 10 rows back, just off of the Penn State bench on the sideline, about 25-yard line.
Nice.
Great
hey,
seats.
I didn't post all of these, but a whole bunch of people on the chat said happy birthday to me, and I appreciate that. And PJ asked what I'm drinking tonight, and I'm drinking a Tailgate Philly Standard Lager. Kyle Schwarber, Yards Brewing Company, Tailgate beer. And I just spilled a little bit on myself. Good stuff. So thank you for all the birthday wishes. I do appreciate it.
There you go.
Still waiting for you to sing to me, Bill. You said on Facebook you might sing to me.
Well, I might, but I'm not going to.
You're not going to. Okay.
So I thought I had it set up where I could play this, and I couldn't get it into our studio for some reason.
All right.
But then I had a happy birthday set up for you, so I can just wish you again happy birthday.
Some of the other people sharing this birthday with me, not on the specific year, but birthdays today: Sally Field, Maria Shriver, Ethan Hawke, Rebecca Romaine. I love her. Yeah. Emma Stone, and James Naismith was born on this date 163 years ago. How about that?
You knew him?
Yeah. Hoop introduced me to him.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, Bill.
Him and Sally Field.
Wrap it up. Yeah, she's 78 today.
That's right. All right, let's thank tonight's special guests, Phil Stiefel and Angelo Cataldi. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgate, PPCC 118 Raz Room. For Jim Chetchesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, November the 13th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, on our Philly Press Box Radio YouTube channel, on the STT Sports Network YouTube channel. Go ahead and listen to us on all the Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Go Birds, beat Dallas.
Happy trails to you till we meet again. 'Cause 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 'cause